All right, Andrew, we finally made it.
We made it all the way to New York.
You know, you got to do what you got to do in order to be successful in the podcasting business. So we have A&J Media and the Suffering Podcast in Times Square, sitting down in the middle.
Yeah, and we just kind of popped this whole thing up right now. So, literally, we are trying a couple of new gear.
You got new toys, that's why.
I got a couple of new toys, so we have to play with a couple of new toys before we start anything.
Well, we're on our way to Podfest down at, the Broadway and 48th. And I'm just looking at Elmo going right past us here. That's the beauty of New York City.
You get to see everything.
Yeah, and, you know, we're going to do a little bit of networking. I'm going to speak, and we're going to try out all this new gear. We're going to have a lot of good content coming.
So, the topic for today is, go ahead.
I think it's, you know, what do you got to do to be successful in this business?
In podcasting?
In podcasting and engineering. My
what's it
autograph for
called?
what? Oh, yeah. No, that ain't
This
me,
man.
bro. That's not me.
Oh,
I don't-
that's New York.
I don't look like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, definitely not.
I'm
You
about-
might, but definitely
I'm
not.
about 12 years younger than Steve Austin. You know, you got to do what you got to do to succeed in this business. It's not easy. Everybody thinks you're just going to show up and throw up.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of it is preparation. A lot of it is what you're going to do and what you prep for the show.
You know, everybody thinks you're just going to sit down in front of a microphone. You're going to have all this great content. You're going to know exactly what to record. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
And that's the thing. So if you're thinking about doing a podcast, starting a podcast or anything like that, it's, first off, you should definitely pick a topic. I think picking a topic is the correct.
I think an overall theme that's evergreen so you can keep adding on that and subtopics within there. All right, just to give you a window, there's the Suffering Podcast. Well, everybody has suffering, but there's all different types of suffering. And they're the little genres inside the theme.
And when you break it down to those little themes, what was so far with the Suffering Podcast? Once you found your theme, how did you know it was the right theme for you?
I think after people started coming out of the woodwork willing to tell their story and how they overcame it, you know, suffering is a word that's universal to everybody. How you overcome it, there's many different ways to overcome it. So there's your theme and there's your evergreen topic that you can keep building on and building on and building on. And you've seen this again and again with recording so many different podcasts. Everybody's got their own story. Everybody's got their way to go.
Well, I think when it comes to recording different podcasts, sometimes the theme is what keeps people separate sometimes.
Right.
You know, buckling down, saying, hey, this is the theme of the show. Some people get nervous because they're afraid that they might run out of things.
Sure.
But I think when you're talking, I say this a lot, when you find the right topic that you're about, when you find that right niche that you're about, you know because you'll be passionate about it. You'll talk about it every single time you go. It would never be anything dry.
True.
And each episode, now, the preparation for the work, you do a lot of preparation for the Suffering Podcast, a lot of work preparation. What advice would you give to a podcast who's starting, right?
Learn how to listen, okay? And this took me probably 3 or 4 episodes where I'm not just being this mechanical robot. I'm reading off of my notes saying, let's do this, let's do this. It's not questions 1, 2, and 3. You have to learn to what they're saying, react to what they're saying, and expand or expound upon what they're saying. That is the biggest talent that I learned.
Listening. Don't just go by the sheet.
Nope.
So that right there is something that while we're recording a lot of podcasters, they come in and you can see the difference, right? Because sometimes a person could say something in the topic and they'll get overshadowed because you're so focused on what the next question is going to be.
And you could lose dynamite content by doing that.
You lose a sentiment.
Absolutely.
You lose a sentiment. If all I know is that you're going by the little questions that are on your paper and you're not really listening to what I have to say, it automatically takes away.
Yeah, it's because you lose if you don't know how to listen. If you don't know how to listen, what are they coming in there for? They're coming in there for people to listen to their story, and it all starts with the host.
Yeah, the host sets the tone.
You know, and there are many other things that I'm going to learn down the line. I learn something new every single day. I learn how to do certain things. But one thing is I am ultra grateful. It's surround yourself. My second piece of advice is surround yourself with the right people. People like Andrew here. Our show wouldn't be possible without people like Andrew here. He has different ideas than I have. And I'm stuck with some of my ideas. You know this better than anybody.
Listen,
It's a fight.
we were, everybody knows nowadays everything is short. So you got to get to the point. And what Kevin is touching on is something that both my wife and I, shout out to Katia, we were pushing the envelope on and said, Kevin, you got to cut the intros.
I loved my intro.
He loves the intros, but the intros, by the time the intros happened, 3 to 5 minutes later, I went to get a drink. I came back, and he was still talking.
Absolutely.
We had to cut the intros, but we trimmed it down. It was a little bit like pulling.
But at the end of the day, what did I do? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly, I did it.
But you know what? Being open-minded. At the end of the day, as much as we joke, being open-minded to other people's ideas.
Right.
Because if you're so solo focused and solo tracked on one thing like that, first off, if you're working on a team, then some people may feel unappreciated.
Well, that comes with being married to your opinions. And I think that's the biggest mistake people make is they become married to their opinions, and they're going to go down with that ship.
Yeah.
Rather than there's a lifeboat right over here ready to save you. Just jump on the lifeboat.
Sometimes that lifeboat, they don't even want to swim to.
Yeah.
They'll get a little stuck, and they don't want to do anything like that.
So, we may be doing a couple of these throughout the city today.
This is spots. We're doing spots in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, we're from New Jersey.
Yes. Let's keep that low.
We're also not for nothing. He's a Phillies fan.
Yes, I am.
And we're going to keep that really, really low.
Well, they
we
start
say
the
let's
playoffs.
go-
The Phillies start the playoffs today,
Don't say it too loud. We're in
and
New York.
the only undefeated team in the NFL right now is
I don't know. I don't watch football too well.
the Eagles.
It's the Eagles?
Oh yes.
Well, New York has 2 teams that might be able to get them, especially the Giants. So I'm a Jets fan. Heart and heart, I'm a Jets fan.
I am a Jets fan.
Name it.
Adjunct. I have a lot of friends who are Jets players. I am dear friends with the chaplain of the Jets.
It's not too late to cross over.
I can't.
Let me ask you a question.
Do it.
This is a good topic for sports.
Sure.
Are you allowed to bandwagon if your team quits the state?
I think
I'll use the New Jersey Nets as an example. New Jersey Nets were sold to Brooklyn. Now they're the Brooklyn Nets.
right.
Are you mandatory to still be a follower?
I think you
Or
have
a
to
fan,
be,
or a
because-
fan. Are you still
because I know this
mandatory?
happened when New York Giants left New York and went to San Francisco. I know that same thing happened. You have to stick. It's law that you have to stick with the team that you were born with.
I think you get a pass because they leave your state.
Yeah.
They kind of gave up on you at that point.
Yeah, they left you. You
They-
didn't leave them.
Exactly.
It's
so
that relationship that
it's
left
that
you, you
relationship.
didn't- yeah.
I love the New Jersey Nets. Always had. I had a Jason the Kid jersey, a Vince Carter jersey. I was a big New Jersey Nets player, fan. I followed the kid all the way. I was very happy he had his ring. Then when they left, my brother, we had a good conversation. One of my best friends is a huge Lakers fan.
Oh, it's a kick in the ass.
I got to be careful in New York once again because Knicks and Lakers. But I looked at LA and I said, well, that would be the easy out. They have so many championships. I wouldn't even have.
They're the New York Yankees of basketball.
My sister used to tell me this joke. She goes, why do they call it the World Series if it's always in New York?
Well, with enough money, you can buy anything.
Well, their budget for the team is ridiculous.
Well, that's
It's
what always
absolutely
got me
ridiculous.
mad about being a Philly fan. Second biggest market in the country, and we pay for nobody.
Well, maybe you guys pay for that stadium because after you guys trashed it from the last thing, it might be.
I just want to let you know
Oh,
that
wait.
Eagles fans are the reason no glass bottles are sold in stadiums to this day.
Thank you, Philly.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll see you on the next one here. We got to get to our next location.
We got to keep moving.
Yeah, pay attention because we got some good stuff coming up.
All right. Suffering Podcast, A&J Media, NYC.
Peace out.
Peace.